Tonight, the war against Iran stopped aiming only at Iran's military and started aiming at the things that keep the country running: bridges, a railway line, and, for the first time, Iran admits it, the power grid. Today, the US campaign widens, Pakistan braces for a diesel shock at midnight, and India's gateway to Central Asia takes a hit. US Central Command says it finished its latest wave at 9:40 last night Eastern Time, hitting dozens of targets. In its own words, it was the sixth consecutive night. US Ministry 9 in Kabul we didn't out and was for says side. But what CENTCOM lists and what Iran describes are not the same thing. CENTCOM's statement names military targets, air defenses, coastal surveillance, missile sites, military logistics. Iranian officials, reported by the Associated Press and Al Jazeera, say something wider was hit. 6 bridges in Hormozgan province, a railway facility, an airport, and a residential area. Iranian state television says at least 7 people were killed. And today Iran acknowledged something it had not admitted before. Its energy ministry asked people across the southern provinces to use less power, saying those areas are, quote, currently experiencing extreme heat and attacks on power infrastructure. It's the first time Tehran has conceded the grid is being hit. Iran's health ministry puts the toll at least 38 killed and more than 400 wounded. That is Iran's own figure. We can't independently confirm it. Iran struck back across the Gulf. Qatar twice told its public to shelter. Qatar's interior ministry says a child was wounded by falling debris. And in Kuwait, Iran hit a power and water desalination plant. Kuwait draws about 90% of its drinking water from desalination. In a primetime address, President Trump said, quote, "We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly."
Which brings us to Pakistan, where that war is about to show up in the price of a liter of diesel. Tonight, the government announces new fuel prices, effective tomorrow. Geo News and Profit both report diesel is expected to rise by up to 40 rupees a liter, petrol by around 10, now, expected, not announced. Those are estimates built on 4 days of Platts price assessments, and the final number still depends on one more day of international pricing, the exchange rate, and whether the government cuts the petroleum levy to soften the blow, which it's weighing now. And here's the year. When the war began in February, diesel was around 281 rupees. By the 3rd of April, it hit 520. It came back down, now it's climbing again. Diesel is the one that bites. It moves freight, it runs power plants and generators. So it doesn't just hit drivers, it works its way into what food costs by the time it reaches a shelf, and the expectation alone has already done damage. Regulators say some dealers began hoarding diesel to sell it dearer tomorrow. Pumps ran dry in parts of the country even though, officials insist, national stocks are fine. OGRA has been ordered to crack down.
And the war reached something India spent 20 years building. A tower at Chabahar port collapsed after repeated US strikes, Iran's state news agency IRNA reported today. Iran says the tower oversaw commercial traffic into the port. Iran's Revolutionary Guard also operates at ports across the country. Iranian state media acknowledged a 3rd round of strikes on the facility without acknowledging the tower had come down. Chabahar sits on the Gulf of Oman, about 460 kilometers east of the Strait of Hormuz. Outside it, that was the whole point. Iran leader turned the Obushan and BT Sipshin. For India, Chabahar was the road to Afghanistan and Central Asia that doesn't pass through Pakistan. It sits about 170 kilometers from Pakistan's Gwadar. India's Ministry of External Affairs puts its investment at around $120 million. But India doesn't run the port today. It handed its stake in the free zone to an Iranian entity when US sanctions came back. So India is watching a port it built and no longer controls take damage in a war it has urged both sides to end. New Delhi's line hasn't moved. Restraint, dialogue, diplomacy. It also summoned Iran's deputy chief of mission after attacks on tankers in the strait killed an Indian sailor. Why it matters: Chabahar was India's hedge, a route around Pakistan, outside the Strait of Hormuz. This war is proving that a route outside the choke point isn't the same as a route out of reach.
6 nights of strikes, a grid Iran now admits is being hit. And a bill landing at petrol pumps in Pakistan and at a port India built. You're watching the Jago Times. Stay tuned for more, and subscribe for tomorrow's brief.